And hello, you absolute lovelies. We are back to lives after a week off. Appreciate your patience getting back here. We're going to be diving into all sorts of big DCU and MCU news. If you follow this page, you know that I've covered Superman extensively. If you guys want to get my thoughts on Superman in non-spoiler, spoiler, all sorts of different reviews as well as other stuff, please do check out those videos. If you have any questions about Superman, happy to talk about it here. But I figure you guys, if you've seen this page, have heard me talk Superman enough, wanted to pivot into the future of the DCU. And next up, we've got Supergirl. That is a brand new poster we got this week. But we've also got this upcoming week, Fantastic Four. We are mere days away from the Fantastic Four, and with that comes a fair amount of press. And there was a huge quote from Matt Shakman that I had not heard before, and I feel like it recontextualizes a lot of things going forward into the MCU. So going to be talking about the future of the MCU beyond Fantastic Four as well. Now, I'm going to be seeing the movie on Monday. I'm going to the premiere. I'll be hosting the red carpet for the Hollywood Reporter, so you can expect a lot of interviews from me there. If you guys want to see me talk to Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Evan Moss-Backrack, Joseph Quinn, etc., etc. I'm going to hopefully be talking to all of them through the Hollywood Reporter on Monday, as well as seeing the film for the first time. So you can expect a social reaction from me on Monday, but a full review from me on Tuesday. So all of that is coming next week. This show right here is talking about the news through a comic book lens. I read 50 to 70 comics a week, and from that, I give you my favorite 9 comics each and every week, and I try to make them more approachable, a little bit more accessible, so that you can hopefully find your way into comics. And that's what I want to do with this channel. So if you're new to this page, please hit that subscription bell. We are so close to 49K. We're at like 48.9. We're like 80 some away from 49K. When we hit 50K, I'm going to do a 50 comic giveaway. I'm going to be giving away, maybe not this one, but a big old chunk of comics right to you. Anyone subscribes is going to be eligible. Also, like this video. Also, leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of Superman, as well as what you think of the upcoming DCU stuff we're going to talk about, as well as MCU stuff. All right, long intro aside, you lovelies. It's good to be back. Let's have a hang. Let's have a chat. And then at the end of this episode, we're going to do my favorite comics from the week of the 28th and the week of July 2nd. I am 2 weeks behind on comics, so hopefully sometime during Comic-Con, unlikely, but I'll be able to read some and catch up a bit, so you can count on the end of June into the early July in this video as well. All right, let's talk Supergirl. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is, I think, the perfect comic to adapt into Supergirl, the movie 2026. I have a lot of reasons behind this. I probably will make a video closer to release about the specificity, but with Superman so fresh, I did want to talk about it specifically in comparison to Superman. I think Supergirl and Superman are often written far too similarly. I think there is an element of, well, what a lot of people complain about in this 2025 woke era of using that word incorrectly, but also of complaining about gender swapping and race swapping and all the stuff certain groups on the internet love to just yell inanely about and make lots of money by putting little cry emojis in their thumbnails. But that corner of the internet loves to cry. And I think that the great opportunity here with Supergirl to follow the Woman of Tomorrow arc is to not have her just be a cousin that's just like her male cousin Superman. I think there's a great opportunity here to show a nature versus nurture storyline. Now, pre-Crisis, there was a lot of Supergirl stories where it's kind of just the same, golden age golly gee hijinks, a little different, a little tempered, but I think Woman of Tomorrow is a great opportunity to show how much trauma Supergirl went through by knowing a bit more about the planet she lost, about knowing a family she lost, and the ramifications therein. Superman doesn't remember Krypton. He doesn't have that connection. I personally think the opportunity to show what it would be like to lose your whole planet is a beautiful way to distinguish the two of them. Now, there's a lot of other things I want to talk about in relation to the Superman film, but it's only been out for about 10 days. So in that video that I released closer to the Supergirl release, I will have a little section there about the comparison, but specifically the Woman of Tomorrow comic, which I highly recommend you read. It is a story of someone finding themselves. Now, what Superman did well was he's 3 years in. This is less of a find himself story as a, oh my God, I have a zeitgeist shifting moment in my life and I've got to recontextualize what that means to me. I've got to make a choice. And so Supergirl finding herself, going on this walkabout, this great true grit in space story is a really great way to distinguish the two of them. I also think that in 2025, 2026, when the film comes out, we don't need a traditional like square jaw, look forward kind of story. It'd be beautiful to see another human character. How human Clark Kent was in the story, how human Superman was, I think we can find through Millie Alcock going through it, connecting to her pain and suffering and how she reacts and partying to escape. I think that's a beautiful way to distinguish these two characters. I think Woman of Tomorrow is the exact right comic for it. If you haven't read it, it is illustrated by Bilks Evely, which is this cosmic, super otherworldly Technicolor experience. That art from Bilks is just so big and dynamic. And then the writing from Tom King is so visceral and punchy and heady and full of a lot of big grand ideas, but it's also very determined. It's also got an edge to it, which I really think is beautiful, especially as those combine into a flavor together. What I'm really excited about is Craig Gillespie, the director of everything from Lars and the Real Girl, one of my favorite indies, to Cruella, this incredible film with production design and lush characters. Those two things right there, Lars and the Real Girl as a character study and Cruella as a visual masterpiece, put those together. That's a great Supergirl director. Also did I, Tonya. Also did Dumb Money. Great director. Really big fan. So I'm really excited to see all this come together. Really excited to see this story that I love so much, that comic, get adapted. We got the poster for it. It's on the thumbnail of this page. It's on the thumbnail of this video. I think this poster is great. We had Look Up be our credo for 2 years. Now it's time to look out. And that is exactly how you should feel about Supergirl. Like, just the cross out, the look out, the punk rock sensibilities carrying over, but in a different way and a different kind of edge. She would not listen to the Mighty Crabjoys. I really like this poster. I also like the costume being front and center. It's very cheeky in its framing. Everything about it just kind of spoke to me. So I think this poster coming out 9 months before the film is wonderful. More, 11 months, math. 11 months before the film is wonderful. We get a little sense of tone. It also feels like the same tone as we saw, as we've seen her with so far. Really, really enjoying it. And I think it is wonderful to see the next project already get some press while this one is still in theaters. I think keeping this momentum up for the DCU is great. I also think James Gunn focusing on scripts and directors first before trying to jump the gun and talk about casting or talk about projects or lay out like a 5-year plan is fantastic. We had that big launch event with the DCU 2 years ago, laid out a bunch of properties that are in various stages of cooking, and then the strike, and then all these other things happen. So I like that they're not trying to go like, well, this and this and this. You're just getting the occasional soundbite, getting the occasional moment. But speaking of sound bites, I did want to go over a few that I thought were pretty exceptional from James Gunn's interview with Josh Horowitz. Now, I don't want to just read all the things from Josh Horowitz's interview. I think you guys should watch it. It's on YouTube. Josh is delights. We've done Schmodown and stuff together. I like the dude. He's a great interviewer. Check out Josh's interview with James. But a few highlights I enjoyed from that interview were James Gunn would like to cast Henry Cavill in the DCU. We've heard that before. They had meetings, but I know everyone wants that little headline. I'm getting that out of the way now. 2, James Gunn has read The Batman 2, saying, quote, I like it. We're headed in the right direction. There are some things we still got to work out, but it's headed in the right direction to be sure. Very excited about progress. I loved seeing it get handed in last week. I'm a huge advocate for keeping The Batman and Batman in the DCU separate. He also followed up by saying it's unlikely they would share a calendar year, which I think is smart. I think Batman is a character that really works great detective and gritty, really works great detective and otherworldly. I'm very excited to see the Justice League-esque Batman in the DCU. Glad it's staying separate personally, and really glad that James likes the script. I cannot wait to see that film. I'm so excited. Now we're moving and grooving. Speaking of characters that are prolific in the DCU, The Flash and Aquaman not expected to be introduced in the DCU within the next 2 years. I really like this for a few reasons. One, those are obviously the recent characters we've had in the DCU, and those are characters that are of peak familiarity, which would be good for box office, but there is a lot of baggage tied to them right now, and they've been adapted in ways that didn't get the beloved response that they need right now from the DCU. I also think it's beautiful to hear this 2-year window as the window that things are being looked at. I'm sure internally 5-10-year plan, but 2 years is a realistic amount of time to really announce stuff and navigate things. Keeping to a 2-year window of looking forward, I really just like that frame. I really wish more studios did that. I think we've gotten really used to these long, elaborate plans, and I think we should really narrow that in a bit. James Gunn says that Superman is very important in his next film, but it's not a direct Superman sequel, nor will it be World's Finest or BVS. So clarifying, so many people assumed World's Finest was next, or somehow another Batman versus situation. Not the case. That has a lot of clarity on it now. He literally said point blank, Superman important, but will not be the character. I'm still hoping it's a Mr. Terrific property, whether it's a movie or show. I think he's writing a movie. I think he clarified that, but I would love to see Mr. Terrific get to launch into his own thing. Also, very curious if he fell in love writing a character, would want to do, that journey. I just want to see the character more in general. I'm very curious which thing you think James Gunn is writing now. Would love to know your thoughts in the live chat or the comments below, who you think James Gunn might be, fighting a cough, might be attacking next. I've been going nonstop for quite some time, you lovelies, and my body's tired. But yeah, I'm very intrigued by this. A couple more updates from that interview that I really particularly enjoyed. Again, check it out, Josh Horowitz. He did confirm that Luca Guadagnino is no longer involved with Sergeant Rock, but that is a property he very much wants to move forward. Very excited about making something happen with Sergeant Rock. That's a character that means a lot to him. He's not writing Creature Commandos Season 2. That surprised me the most of anything in this interview, because that first season was such a James Gunn property. It felt so attuned to him. So a lot came out in this interview. I think it is a really beautiful way to end the press tour by doing a bit more spoilers and a bit of a catch-all update on the DCU. Wonder Woman does seem to be a heavy focus. That makes a lot of sense. If you've got your Holy Trinity and you've got Superman already doing well, you've got the Batman being a Batman that's coming, focus on Wonder Woman, bring her in, get that established. I think that'll be something we do hear about within the next 2 years. I also think focusing on Superman and Supergirl is smart to kind of course correct everyone thinking that it's just a Batman universe. I think front loading at those two is exciting. So who else will get their time in the sun? Also, and I'm so sorry, I want to clarify, I have mentioned a number of times Clayface as an Elseworld. It turns out completely wrong. Clayface will be in the DCU. Now, I was coming under the impression that Matt Reeves, the Batman, getting Clayface and Matt Reeves' involvement in Clayface made it either an Elseworld or something in the Batman, which means also an Elseworld, but in that category. It is not the case. It is officially in the DCU. So anyone that has heard me talk about it, Clayface will be the film following Supergirl. It will be in the DCU. So next year, we get a full-blown space opera epic with Supergirl, and then a full-on horror movie. He describes it as Blumhouse with a big budget with Clayface. That is very exciting. That is going to be directed by James Watkins, who scared the crap out of me with Speak No Evil, and the writer, like the sensational horror writer, Mike Flanagan. That below-the-line team is almost as good as Lanterns, which I think is one of the best below-the-line teams we've ever seen. So next year, freaking Lanterns and Supergirl and Clayface. This year, we've still got Peacemaker Season 2, which launches in August. Lots of DCU goodness going, but still don't know what James Gunn's next thing that he's writing is. I hope the dude takes a little bunch of a vacation. I think that is well-deserved after Superman and Creature Commandos and Peacemaker. The dude has been hustling. Obviously, with Peacemaker coming out, we're going to get a bit more of the growth of the DCU. Very curious where it lands, what characters we've seen in the teaser characters in the DCU, where it pushes things forward. But it's really cool to have this movie show flavor feel so cohesive. Marvel has done a good job of that as well, for the most part, following their movies and TV shows flowing together. And let's talk about Marvel after I check on some super chats. Ya lovelies. All right, first up, I want to say hi to the folks that were in here before I even was. Big Busta, Robert Pruser, Chris Fields, Jimmy Comer, how are you? Appreciate the kind words. Jimmy Comer, big fan of Brian K. Vaughan as well. If you like Why the Last Man, definitely check out Saga and Ex Machina. Anything Brian K. Vaughan is going to be great. I particularly love Saga. Chris Fields with the first super chat. Every single super chat, I promise you, will be answered. If you guys have any questions, I promise I will not leave this stream until all super chats are covered. I'm going to try to get to as many live chats as I can, but with super chats, not only do they go to the house fund, but they will get a guaranteed answer. Chris Fields, thank you. I love your positivity. Appreciate that. I really enjoyed Superman. Hell yeah. My wife doesn't really like comic movies, and she enjoyed it also. Love to hear it, Chris Fields. My fiance doesn't really like comic movies. She doesn't dislike them, but she doesn't have the passion for them I do. But then again, few do. But not really her thing. When we leave a Marvel movie, she's not like, I want to talk about it. As soon as we left Superman, she had so many things to say. She loved Loved Mr. Terrific. Loved Nicholas Holt's portrayal of Lex Luthor. Had a ton to say about Lex and Mr. Terrific specifically. Really connected to Superman as a character. Really had a lot to say about Lois. Like, she really wanted to talk about this movie. And that was wonderful for me because that's what I do for a living. And when your partner also shares that passion, it really makes for a more of a dynamic conversation. So, yeah, I'm in the same boat where, my lady loved Superman, which made me happy. All right, let's see. Povenmire went from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. Hell yeah. John Darius, thank you very much for the super chat. Hey, Coy, I love your work and enthusiasm. Thank you. Do you think we'll see Kara? I say Kara some of the time, but when I read it, I say Kara. Interesting. We'll see Kara show her Kryptonian fighting skills that separates her from Clark in how she fights 100%. There's a really integral blade that comes into play in Woman of Tomorrow that I think will be a big factor, because the way that Superman fights, I could not see him wielding any sort of sword. I do think that'll be a factor in Millie Alcock's portrayal and her fighting style. I think we're going to see a very different heritage and a very different, dynamic technique. I think we're going to see a little bit more of animosity. Might even see some elements of what they teased in Superman with Supergirl. So very intrigued about that. But yeah, I think we'll definitely see a different fighting style, and I think that will be a key factor. And thank you again, John. Last one before we get to the MCU news is from Chris Fields. Curious what you think about the Sandman series. This word series could mean one of two things. It could mean the TV series or the comic series. I'm going to assume you're meaning comic series. I'm a huge fan of the comic series. Have not seen the TV series. I know it's great. People tell me. Haven't had time, unfortunately. But I love the comic. I think it is one of the most introspective and existential in and out comics. It's kind of everything. It's really just powerful, wonderful, full of emotion, makes you rethink your life. I love the Sandman books. Thank you very much. Doug McCanney, good to see you in here, Darth Vader, and thank you for the compliments. This morning on the HBO, as of right now, and HBO's YouTube, as of this moment, brand new DC Studios showcase, had my dude Greg on my show for a change. Greg was huge in helping my career with The Real Rejects, and it was really cool to, help him get on a different platform. So I had him on DC Studio Showcase. It was quite the honor. We did a round table. Also joined by the great Brandon Davis of Phase Hero. Brandon was incredible to have on the show as well. So Greg, Brandon, as well as obviously Frankie and Tyler. We had a big old round table of all of us. And that was, really just a great time. It was a great hang, a great conversation. So if you guys want to hear more Superman spoiler talk and you want to round table it out, check that out on HBO right meow. All right, let's talk about the MCU, you lovelies. We've talked DCU. Let's talk MCU. The Fantastic Four is out in a week. We are all, if you're watching this show, you're probably a decent amount of comic nerd. If any of this stuff speaks to you in my background, you're probably excited to see Fantastic Four as soon as possible. I'm seeing it Monday. The world is seeing it Thursday. Let's be real, Thursday and Friday. It's now Thursday. But next weekend, the next time we talk, most people won't have seen it. The following time, we will have seen Superman and Fantastic Four. I bring all this up because Superman launching a universe, Fantastic Four kind of feels like a not relaunch, that's too strong, but a big event that pivots everything. It's more of a pivot than a relaunch. I think there's going to be stuff happening in Fantastic Four that make it feel like a not phase one importance, but everything changes because of the pivot. So I'm curious, when we zoom out, which has a bigger cultural impact and which has the ability to go this is a new age of comic book movies stronger. Because I do think with this combination of Superman and Fantastic Four, we are, just like in comics, going to a different age. I love the Golden Age into Silver Age. I'm a big Silver Age guy, but I loved a lot of the Bronze Age stuff. Modern Age right there for me, up there with Silver Age. I love Modern Age comic books. And now we're in, I don't even know what they call it, but it changes every 8 years or so. We're in a new age. I think comic book movies are shifting with Superman and Fantastic Four. I'm curious which one has a bigger impact. I personally, I've only seen Superman. I can't speak to it, but I'm really curious what Fantastic Four has to say that we haven't seen in a Fantastic Four film yet. I'm really curious how it ends with the events of Thunderbolts as well as Doomsday to come. I'm very curious about all of those things, but the reason I put it in my thumbnail isn't just because it's out in a week and isn't just because I wanted to talk about it with you guys in the comments and whatnot. It's because of a quote that I just saw before while I was prepping the show that blew my goddamn mind. I don't know how this isn't a bigger news story because at least I hadn't heard it. Maybe other people had. But basically, it looks like the Pedro Pascal Reed Richards is going to be instrumental in the rest of the MCU. I knew the Fantastic Four were going to be in Avengers and whatnot. They made that very clear with the chairs and with the way they announced the cast, with all those things. But this is crazy. Quote from Matt Shackman. Matt Shackman, director of the Fantastic Four, saying, quote, he goes from being the nerdy scientist who locked away in the lab to the husband and the father who do anything to protect his family to the guy who's leading the Avengers. I realized that the version we were building had to have all of those elements. Now, he said this in answering how difficult it was to cast Reed Richards, but like I hadn't heard Reed Richards was leading the Avengers. I hadn't even considered he would. That's not a common canon. He's the Fantastic Four's leader. He's a member of Marvel's first family. What? It might be great. I'm very curious. I mean, Pedro Pascal is certainly dynamic. He's certainly an incredible actor. As an actor, I see that man as a leader and as someone who can carry a film that's that big of an ensemble. But as a character, I had never considered Reed Richards leading the Fantastic Four. If anything, he's like a bit of a liability because he's like aloof and a bit of a mad professor. So this is, as a nerd, a bit of two minds for me. On one hand, I'm very curious to see what Pedro Pascal does as an actor leading Avengers. On the other hand, it is not at all how I see the character, which gives me a little bit of pause because I've been a little worried about the casting of a dude I want to have a beer with as a guy that should seem very standoffish. Very curious about this. That quote, I had not heard anything akin to this, so I wanted to give it a little attention because that's pretty crazy to me. I would love to know what you guys think in the chat. Leading the Avengers, we are going to have Reed Richards lead the Avengers. So from professor to father to the Iron Man spot that I think was very clearly being set up to be Doctor Strange originally, that I always felt like what they wanted. Originally, I think they wanted Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, but things have obviously changed quite a bit over the last few years. Very different dynamic. I always saw it being Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. I am so getting sick, but I refuse. Black Panther leading, obviously, we could not have that with the loss of Chadwick. I also think the reception of Captain Marvel was a different thing, and I would have seen Spider-Man leading more of a young Avenger, but it is very interesting to have Doctor Strange not involved seemingly in that position at all and to have Reed in there. So very curious. You guys are seemingly in a similar spot of it kind of makes sense. All of the different things kind of being like, that's not how I see it. Alicia said it makes sense. People saying it makes sense. All right, so you guys are cool with it. I'm happy. I'm happy it makes sense to you. I'm very curious how it's going to play out because that's not how I see the character from the comic books, but obviously in the movie, it's a different character. And we're going to get that for the first time next week. We're going to see the writing of how he is there. So we will see, and I hope it's great. We also have confirmation that John Malkovich has been cut from the Fantastic Four. He would have played Red Ghost. A few quotes about, how upsetting that was, how much they wanted to work with him, and it just didn't work out in the runtime of the film. The film is under 2 hours, which we will see how that plays out as far as pacing, but no Red Ghost, no John Malkovich. And the last bit of news, because I don't want to dive too deep, and we're at the point. You know what? I won't even say it because I wish I didn't know it. We also got confirmation of who the fantastic and underappreciated Paul Walter Hauser is. That dude should be a household name. He's the dude I thought he was going to be the whole time, but we got confirmation of that. But now I want to see the movie without knowing too much more. So that is our bit of Fantastic Four news roundup. Let's talk about the future of the MCU. In addition to Fantastic Four, the Punisher special, the Punisher special presentation has begun filming last week. So John Bernthal's Punisher is a cooking. We've also got later this year Wonder Man, which I'm very excited for. We've got Eyes of Wakanda, which I'm very excited for. And I feel like one more thing. We've still got a ton of MCU in the back half of this year. And then next year, we've got another season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which I thought was amazing. Another season of X-Men 97, which I thought was amazing. As well as, of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day and our Avengers Doomsday. So next year is another giant year of Marvel. But I kind of like that after that, it is a bit more of a mystery. We know we get Secret Wars a year later. We know if scheduling holds up, a year almost exactly after Doomsday, which is now a winter release. And then we'll have at the end of 2027 Secret Wars. But after that, we haven't really had movement on the X-Men since we got confirmation of the director of Thunderbolts directing. Jake Schreier is officially directing X-Men. We had a writer attached about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, but there haven't been a lot of announcements post Secret Wars. And I personally am hoping it stays that way. Daredevil Born Again, also next year. Great call. I think that's next year. It did just wrap. So we don't have a lot of confirmation film-wise of what's coming. We have White Vision, I believe, next year. A lot more on the TV side, and a lot of that was announced a while ago. So I love this Secret Wars feeling like a big moment to kind of revamp, refresh, restyle. It feels like an Endgame moment where it's like, okay, we're going to breathe a second, and what's going to come after it? Now, I know they know, right? Like they have a plan. It's not like they don't know what they're doing next. I'm curious if there's any sort of gap. Probably not a year or so, but maybe slowing down. I'm curious if it is a soft reboot and they kind of pick and choose their battles, keep which characters they want, and kind of wipe the universe clean. We are getting a Moon Knight season 2, which surprised me a little bit because it was confirmed from the cast a year and a half ago. And when they started canceling stuff, I hadn't heard if that was staying. So Moon Knight 2 is going forward. We also are getting a bit more in the supernatural with Midnight Suns, I hear, kind of cooking back up again. So it is very, very curious. What is the world of the MCU post Secret Wars? Like, what will that look like? What will that be? I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts. I'd love to read them in the comments below or on the side here. But, someone lost video. Everyone's video is completely gone. Oh, no. Okay, let me know if I'm back. Moon Knight would be a prequel to Midnight Suns. I would love that to be a trilogy. Okay, Doug McKinney still has video. If Darth Vader has video, I hope most have video. Thank you, Asul. New setup, new lighting, a little bit different camera dynamic and technique. I'm trying to upgrade everything for you lovelies. Microphone came in. I didn't have time to test it, but I've got a microphone. We are changing the game, you lovelies. Things are leveling up. But yeah, very curious that things seem to end at Secret Wars as far as announcements. I hope they keep it that way. I personally am glad they're not announcing stuff after that. I was a little afraid that they would basically have a Hall H presentation that would reveal the end of Fantastic Four, or it would announce things post Secret War. I think focusing on the next 2 or 3 years is the move for both the DCU and the MCU. I'm excited about what's to come. I think focusing on Spider-Man, Avengers, setting up X-Men, all of that guarantee stuff, I think is really smart. Curious what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below and on the live chat. Let me get to some super chats. I very much appreciate these coming in. You guys help co-host this and guide the conversation, which I very much appreciate. Lovely to see a lot of familiar names in here as well. Our next is from Jesus Gastelum. Jesus, thank you very much for the super chat, man. What a kind one and what a lovely message. Koi, long time no see. Hope all is well. I was very pleased with Superman. The message is one that this world needs. Also, am I the only one that wants more Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific? Well, I can only speak for myself and my friends that I've spoken with directly, but more Mr. Terrific is definitely a thing I want. And I love that Hawkgirl is established in this universe in a way that can go infinite ways. I love Isabella Merced. She is so fucking talented, and I think she has a lot of potential. And I feel like this was like casting her to be like, okay, we're starting the universe with a lot of characters that you know, and you get to know them more as they go along, including Hawkgirl. So I absolutely agree with both of those. Mr. Terrific is the spinoff I want most, whether it's film or TV. I was saying that about 6 months ago. I was saying it since well before the movie came out. Now that I've seen it, absolutely a ton more. Yes, please. So yeah, I very much agree with you. I really enjoyed it. I do think it's a message the world needs. Ironically, before I saw Superman, I filmed one of my episodes of DC Studio Showcase, and in it I said that Superman is punk rock because being kind is counterculture. And boy, oh boy, do James and I see the character similarly. So yeah, I totally agree. The world needs that message. I also think the world needs to value intelligence a little bit more. So Mr. Terrific is a great ambassador for technology and science and growth and intelligence being a superpower. And I would love if the world saw it that way. So yes, an anti-intellectualism character in Mr. Terrific. More people should just learn. Yes, Jesus, I'm totally with you. And thank you for the super chat, man. Angie, aka Love Junkie, great name. Also, great message. Super chat saying, I'm loving DC High Volume Batman. You lovelies, that is the other show I have at DC. I get to talk about DC Studio Showcase a little more often because there are big news moments that happen that tie into the studio side. But on the comic side, where, I mean, this is what the show's about. It's about comics. like so many comics. DC High Volume is adapting word for word some of the greatest Batman stories of all time. We got Year One, we got Long Halloween, we're going into Dark Victory, we got some other stuff cooking down the line. And on that show, on DC's YouTube and Spotify and anywhere you stream your pods, I get to interview the talent behind it and on it. So voice actors, executive producers, writers. I got all sorts of great talent I'm interviewing on DC High Volume Batman, and the show itself is amazing. Every single week, new bundle of comics turned into a full-on radio play, word for word, and then every month, interviews with me over there. So thank you very much, Angie, and I really love doing that show. I appreciate you checking it out. So I got DC Studio Showcase, and I got DC High Volume Batman. DC Studio Showcase on HBO, DC High Volume Batman on their YouTube. Check them out. Also, DC High Volume Batman, if you don't have HBO, it's on HBO's YouTube. You can watch it for free. Check it out. Greg and Brandon on today's episode. Connor Mullis, good to see you over here away from Capes and Cowls. Saw you earlier in Capes and Cowls. Brought you away. Brought you over here for my 3 o'clock. Happy to see you back on Capes and Cowls, Corky. Appreciate that very much. I mean, we didn't do an episode on the 4th. I couldn't make it the last week of June or the 11th. So this is my first time back in 3 weeks. And I had a great time. I'm unfortunately not available next week either because I'll be at Comic-Con. But then in August, I should be back a decent amount. I appreciate the super chat and the love. And it was fun to be back. It was good to see the boys. John Darius, I actually think we unfortunately won't get a DCU movie in 2027. What film do you think will come by that time is if us fans are lucky? Stay safe. I think we'll get something in 2027. I think that they were able to very confidently make Superman and Supergirl and have a year of visual effects. Like they were able to wrap and have a year of visual effects, which means if they greenlight anything or acknowledge anything this year, that gives them a full year of post-production if the film wraps in like December. Like I think 2027 is pretty far out. I'm not worried about there being nothing. As far as what it's going to be, I know Dynamic Duo won't make that because it's so many incredible mixed medias. I know that, there's a few projects that are a little further down the line, so they don't make sense to rush to 2027. But this is the one time I'll play I can't reveal more than I know because I don't want to know what level of cooking things are. Like I've avoided knowing some stuff. So full disclosure, I don't know what it would be because I'm trying not to know stuff. But I think something will be possible by 2027. Sci-Fi Extremist, good to see you, man. Always a wonderful piece of the channels that, like, whenever I see your name pop up, it's always so positive. I really appreciate this fellow. Met him through Real Rejects and always like this guy. Sci-Fi Extremist, happy Friday, Koi. Thank you very much. Happy Friday to yourself. James Gunn said the Flash we saw the Hall of Justice mural is not Jay Garrick. You think maybe Max Mercury or Barry? I mean, time travel is really fun. What if it's Wally West, man? I really hope we go Wally West. That's personal, but I really hope Wally West. So I'm gonna say, what if it's Wally West? Could be Max Mercury, could be Barry Allen. I'm a pull for Wally West. I had not heard that he said it wasn't Jay Garrick. That is news to me. That is exciting. Thank you very much for the super chat, Sci-Fi. Always good to hear from you, man. Connor Mull is back at it with a very important update. Forklift time today was a success. We love to hear it. That is good news. FYI, he told me forklift time, success, excellent news. Again, good to see a lot of familiar names in here. I got 2 more super chats, 3 more super chats, and then I'm gonna get back to the comics themselves, you lovelies. Jesus asks, also, Fantastic Four is going to change the MCU for the better. I'm excited for this movie and going forward. Speaking of moving forward, what mutant team-ups are you looking forward to when we get them in the MCU? Oh, man. Storm and Cyclops, hopefully as leaders of the X-Men, like uniting the gold and blue teams. Like, they're obviously going one big team, but I want to see the way they team up. I'd love to see a brother dynamic with Havoc and Cyclops in a very tangible way. I'd love to see Chamber team up with Wolverine down the line. I'd love to see Gambit and Rogue. I mean, obviously. I really want to see Colossus and Ileana, man. I got a lot of family dynamics I really enjoy that we've never gotten to see in a real way. A lot of weird X-Men like Banshee. I know he was in First Class, but I feel like we could really use a Banshee. Yeah, those ones come to mind. Thank you again very much. And Yeah, man, X-Men. I'm so excited for the X-Men era, and I know Kevin Feige's been fighting for so long. So I'm very, very hopeful. Connor Mullis, if you were a vampire, what would your favorite color be? If I was a vampire, would that change my favorite color? My favorite color is green. I think it would have to be red, like a blood red, because I'd probably be pretty on the nose about being a vampire. I'm going to say red if I was a vampire. I'm going to say green because I'm not. But I love the question. Connor Mullis with the last one before we get back into some news. Connor Mullis asks, oh, nope, we got another one first. Low-key nerd. Low-key nerd. Thank you very much. Low-key nerd asks, hey, Coy, was curious. I have watched the Fantastic Four comic history. Have watched the Fantastic Four comic history by Marvel on YouTube. I watched it earlier this week and now cannot wait for first steps even more. I have not watched that. I don't watch a lot of YouTube. I have not had the time to really sit and invest in backstory on Fantastic Four because I read them enough that I feel very comfortable. But if it's great, I'm happy to plug it. It is the Fantastic Four comic history on Marvel's YouTube. If you guys want to know more about them, apparently, according to Low-Key Nerd, it is fantastic. If you're not as versed in the family, that is how you get prepped for first steps, according to Low-Key Nerd. So check it out. He had a good time with it. Hopefully you will too. Thank you very much, Low-Key Nerd. And now the last one from Connor Mullis before I talk about some crossover stuff and read you some comic recs. I am so happy Gunn is giving friendly competition to Marvel. Comic book movie fans as a whole are absolutely winning right now. So excited. Connor Mullis, I love when you're a madman on the keyboard, and I love when you're an honest sentimentalist on the keyboard. Both are very good sides of you. I agree, Connor. I think competition is good for any business. I think it is very friendly. I love that Pedro Pascal has been sharing super fantastic, memes. I love how much, David Cornsweat has likewise been like, they're here to support. Like, they've both been very good leading men of these franchises to support each other. And James Gunn has spoken fondly of Marvel. A lot of things have spoken very highly of Marvel and DC and vice versa. I think it's beautiful. So I agree with you. All right, before we get to the comics, you lovelies, you see this shirt right here? Do you see this shirt right here? This is COVRPRICE. This is a site I adore. If you haven't seen the video up on my page, I posted it yesterday, and it's about 3 minutes long. And basically, I wanted to team up with these guys forever ago because it's a site I legitimately use. So a lot of times people ask me, what do I use to keep track of my comics? What do I use to look up what comes out? What do I use to sort what I have? COVRPRICE is the answer. COVRPRICE is a minute-to-minute price guide that aggregates Mile High Comics, mycomicshop.com, eBay, all the major sites of sales, CGC and Unslabbed, and then you put in what you think your book is, like a very good plus, fine minus, your net, whatever you think the book is, and it tells you what your comic is worth that minute, like in that minute, what that minute is, and it keeps track of all of them. You can do like a virtual box. If you've got a long box to know what's in each thing, you literally, if you're a member, and by the way, if you join, you can use the code COY, just my name, COY. Use the code COY to get 10% off. It also gives you, like, I think $3 for the first 30 days. You can use my name to get some power over there. But unlimited comics logged, it's an amazing, amazing platform. But for free, you get your first 50 comics. You can test it out. You can see if it's for you. Then use the code COY, get yourself a discount. It's an amazing site. There's previews of what every comic is week to week from all the major publishers, whether it's Marvel, DC, Image, Boom, Dynamite, AWA, IDW, all the major publishers, every comic they're putting out, including all the variant covers. You can see what variant covers are, how many of each cover there are. It also has descriptions of like what the book is, who's writing it. It is a giant resource. It's like Wizard Magazine, but a website. But I keep it on me because when I go to cons, I go, okay, these are the last comics I need. Those are in my wish list. Okay, now these are in my wish list. And now I can basically see what price that's worth in that condition. Okay, and I know to buy it or not based on a real aggregate of an overall fair market value. So it's invaluable to me now that I only need 20 more Spider-Man comics. I got 2 recently. So I have 20 Spider-Man left. I have 74 X-Men left in the world. My family came into town and they got me the first Sentinel appearance ever in X-Men number 14. Oh my God, at Golden Apple. And I'm so appreciative. But I was able to look up fair market value. The Golden Apple people gave me a great deal. And basically I can see all that on this site. So COVRPRICE, absolutely incredible. COVR price. Check them out. COVRPRICE. They're amazing. Highly recommend them. Use code COY. Save yourself some money. And yeah, I really, really appreciate those guys because I've been wanting to team up with them forever. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to let you peek behind the curtain. They were like, hey, we've never done marketing. And I was like, I'll do your first marketing, like outside of the site. Like I wanted to be their first guinea pig. I have a certain like amount. I'm like, I need this. I was like, you guys, different story. I will absolutely just advocate for cover price. But I wanted to set it all up properly. Using code KOI is great for this site because then I can be like, hey, let's do a brand deal. So if you guys want to support me, use code KOI on COVRPRICE. I'm going to try to get more sponsors on this site so I can like get a good camera. And obviously I'm trying to upgrade. But I only want them to be things I actually use. That's important to me. I'm going to hunt these guys down because I use them all the time. This is not a sponsor. But COVRPRICE using code KOI will absolutely help me out. So if you guys want to, head over there, hunt them down, COVRPRICE. Good lovelies. All right, let's talk about comic books. First of all, check out all the awesome amalgam stuff to come, guys. There's a Greg Capullo bit of beauty that dropped with I know it was Wolverine. Who was Wolverine fighting? It was an awesome cover. And it flashed by, like, because you know when you scroll and then you come back and then it's a Batman. Jeez, Steve McNiven. I had the artist wrong and I forgot. Steve McNiven's Wolverine and Batman cover, absolutely incredible. It's a stunning variant of Deadpool Batman. They threw in Wolverine. That's what was throwing me off by Steve McNiven. I love Steve McNiven work. It is absolutely gorgeous. We also found out Captain America and Wonder Woman are going to be crossing over. All sorts of dopeness. Highly recommend you check out all the stuff coming from Marvel and DC teaming up because they're such brutal, violent enemies to each other. How could they ever get along? All right, let's talk about comics from the weeks of June 25th and July 2nd. Now, as always, I put these in the text below. And if you guys want to know what I think of all the rest of comics, this is the only other ad I'll do. I have a Patreon. I never plug. It is literally $5 a month. Or more. If you guys want to throw 20 at it, you can. But $5 a month, that's the price of one comic. I could save you if you don't like it or if you think like I do. I rank the 30 or 40 new comics I read. I read 50, sometimes 70, but a lot of that is like I reread For All Seasons. I reread Birthright. I reread a lot of Superman leading up. Fantastic Four, I'm reading a bunch right now. But new stuff, I read about 40 comics a week and I rank them, rate them all. A, B, C, C+, C-, all that stuff on Patreon for $5 a month. So if you want to see the things that didn't make my top 9, if you're curious what I thought of a comic, please check out patreon.com/KoiJandro. But I don't want to gatekeep. So these are my favorite books that I think you'll dig. These are my favorites. And I want to put them on a big platform as I can. So they're going to be right here. I might start putting these covers on TikTok and Instagram as a story. I haven't decided yet. But my favorites from the week of June 25th, they're all written down below, are first up, Absolute Martian Manhunter #4. Loving this book. The art is transcendent. It is so psychedelic and weird. It ties and makes the story even better. My God, what a good time. Next up, Assorted Crisis Events. This is Denise Camp, who is writing the Ultimates, the Avengers Ultimate comic, and it's incredible. This is also incredible. This is my favorite issue of the series so far. This is Assorted Crisis Events #4. I have a crippling fear of time passing me by and how quick time passes and mortality in general. Boy, oh boy, excellent book about that. Next up, Department of Truth, #31, I believe. Yes, #31. One of my favorite titles of the modern comic era. Like literally in the last 5 years, is one of my favorite books ever. Love Department of Truth. This issue, no exception. This is Fantastic Four, #33. This is Ryan North's magnum opus. I love Ryan North's writing. This is my personal favorite Fantastic Four comic ever. This is the last issue of this run. There's a new #1 coming out, I believe, this week because comics and because there's new movies. They reset numbers. I believe it's still Ryan North, but boy, oh boy, if it changes, this is the best for me. My favorite run of Fantastic Four of all time, these 33 issues. I don't know if this is ending everything. I don't know if it's just a renumbering, but I have loved this run so very much. Adore it. Green Arrow, 25. The guy that genetically I'm meant to play. Green Arrow #25 is continuing this incredible Green Arrow run that is really expressing the billionaire that wants to do the right thing side of Ollie. I'm very torn about, people get so mad when I talk politically, but this comic does such a good job showing the wrongs of mega corporations in a very fun vigilante way. My top 3 favorite Green Arrow run of all time. This book is fantastic. Justice League Unlimited #8. This is the end of the mega crossover event that has been going on. Issue 6 of that. We are yesterday. This is issue 6 of that crossover between the two runs. The art here, man. Dan Mora illustrating Batman Beyond and Snyder's Batman and so many characters I love is just so incredible. Big old fan. Loving this giant event. This is dope. This is the new history of the DC Universe. This is a really cool way to understand the deep minutia of what it is to be a 80-year DC fan. There's stuff in here I didn't know. There's stuff in here I did know that was explained much better. This is all pre-modern, not even modern, pre-Golden. Yeah, modern implies the modern age, which is 2000. This is all pre-Golden. This is like the teens, like the 19 teens and 20s. It's dense. It's a lot. Obviously, some of that came out after and they retooled it, but man, oh man, is this special. It's also one of 4, so it'll be the whole history of the DC universe, written by Mark Waid. Really great stuff. Art by Todd Knock. Highly recommend. The Thing, number 2. This is an absolutely incredible little series that just started. It is so much fun to focus on Ben Grimm. You can't tell by the cover here, he's fighting the Bullseye. Bullseye, not the Bullseye. He's fighting Bullseye, and it's so fun. It's so cheeky. The language of Ben you can hear in every single panel. And then, of course, my favorite comic right now, Ultimate Spider-Man, just continues to be so special. 18 issues in, always the top of my pull list the week it comes out. Always dynamic and interesting. I could not recommend this more. If you're a Spider-Man fan and you want a good jumping on point, go back to issue 1 of this or issue 1 of the 2001. Both runs are transcendent. Dig it, dig it, dig it. All right. Before we get to the week of July 2nd, which is the last thing we're going to do on this here show, a bunch of super chats came in. Let's see. All right. Next up, we have Noel Airman. Noel saying, I just started getting into comics and I see a lot of negative reactions to Battle for the Cowl. What do you think of it? Battle for the Cowl. I'm going to make sure I have the right comic in mind before I speak on it and someone gets mad at me and then I'm like, oh no, that's not the one I meant. I want to make sure I got it right. Batman Battle for the Cowl. Oh, I remember thinking this was fine. It's just a lot of characters and I don't think the Bat family should be like 30 deep. It felt a little disjointed. I get the Batman rest in peace idea, and I think it's a fun concept to have Batman's absence fuel all of his like other people into this kind of thing. But I just didn't connect to it as much as I wanted to. So I don't have anything against it, but I definitely don't have a strong. That's why I wanted to make sure it was the right book. It didn't really leave a mark in the way that I felt like it was trying to, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's not bad. And if you're enjoying it, hell yeah. It just didn't speak to me in the big event sense that I wanted it to. And I think they've done similar stories a little better. But no pro or con that is strong enough to really have a sense. Spidey Sensei, and thank you, Noel. And enjoy reading comics. That's so exciting. If you want to check out more Bat family stuff, right now, Batman and Robin is so good in the Damian Wayne book and also Batman and Robin Year One with Dick Grayson. Both are such different Batman and Robins. I think Bat family, when it's a little bit more narrow, is more my cup of tea. Spidey Sensei 72. You and Greg were looking pretty diesel today on the DC show this morning. Here's something towards the house fund. Thank you. I built a little home gym. I haven't had time to use it much, but I built a little home gym and I really want to use it more because I didn't have time to go to the gym. So I built up a little home gym. Now I haven't had time for that. But in August, I think I'm going to turn down most things and just try to like tuck in and work out and get yokedter. And I appreciate that because I've started, but not nearly the volume I want to. So I appreciate that very much, Spidey Sensei. Good to hear from you. Greg and I trying to get yoked. It's funny. We're both trying to get to the same weight, but I'm like 4 inches shorter than Greg and I'm trying to be a lot bulkier. So it's funny. I think we're both trying to have a very similar number, but a very different build. Incoons, can you give comic recs for the different Robins? Well, currently I would recommend Damian Wayne's Batman and Robin. I love that book. It's 30 or so issue in. I think even currently I would say the Jason Todd is some of the best I've ever read. Not Jason Todd, Dick Grayson. Chris Samney art is so good. Batman and Robin Year One. It's just really approachable. I love it. Jason Todd, I go 90s stuff. I really love his original run. I forget the artist, but man, it was so like slightly anime inspired, really great. It was in the era of Con-El when Superboy was really popular. That's my favorite Jason Todd era. Stephanie Brown, Frank Miller stuff. Nightwing, the Tom Taylor run that just ended. If you want to go from Dick Grayson Robin to Dick Grayson Nightwing, that Tom Taylor run, top to bottom, all of it was so freaking good. That's the stuff I'd recommend. New Red Hood comic starting soon, R-rated Red Hood comic. Very curious about that. Thank you for the super chat, man. Sci-Fi Extreme is coming back. I also wanted to ask, I know you read a lot of comics, but I was wondering if I could ever get your opinion on a few self-pub. I was like pub. Self-published indie comics I wrote. I actually can't read all those because I work with big publishers. So if any of the ideas are similar to big publisher, I could get in trouble. So I actually am not reading the independent stuff that isn't published already anymore. just because I get in trouble. But also, I don't, to be honest, I also don't have time. I'm 2 weeks behind comics right now. Like as it is, I'm reading the comics from the 9th, and then comics from the 16th just dropped. And while I'm at Comic-Con, comics from the 23rd are going to drop. So I've got to try to read all of the 9th and 18th before the 23rd, unlikely, and then talk about those next week, then go to Comic-Con and try not to fall behind on the Comic-Con. So I'm drowning a little bit, but I really appreciate you wanting my insight, man. That means a lot, but I just don't have time, unfortunately, and might get in trouble. I don't know. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Lone Wolf XS. Thank you for the super chat. Saying, hey, Coy, are you familiar with these characters such as Nightmare, Surge, or Kid Omega? Are they too deep cut to ever be in a movie or show? Nightmare was close to being in a movie. Nightmare was almost the villain of Doctor Strange 2. I like Nightmare. Kid Omega doesn't seem likely because you'd have a lot of stuff to get to him. And I honestly don't know Surge. I'll totally own that. Off the top of my head, Surge is not coming to mind. Nightmare is the most likely. Next up, Kid Omega, but there'd be a lot of backstory and then Surge. Unless Surge is someone I'm just not. Dan V900. Good to see Dan V900 in here. Let's see. Thank you very much for the super chat. What are your thoughts on the Ultimate Endgame announcement? I heard the rumor that Ultimate Incursion with Miles was so fast because it was an ending sooner rather than later. Just a crazy rush job to me. I've only read Ultimate Incursion 2. I think they are definitely rushing. I've really enjoyed the Ultimate comics. I think if they do end things, it would be foolish because they're doing so well. I don't think it's an end as much as it's going to be like, nope, jumping on point, like a renumbering. But if they do end it here, that is silly. But we will see. I think that might be a marketing thing more than a reality of storytelling thing, but we'll find out together. All right, next up, we've got the comics from July 2nd, ya lovelies. These are my favorite books from the 2nd of July, coming back after a long hiatus. Amazing Spider-Man number 7. Written by Joe Kelly, illustrated by John Romita Jr. When John Romita Jr. isn't having to rush because he has so many books, one of the best in the game. I love JRJR. Sometimes he has to rush. Sometimes he has too many books. But, man, when this dude takes his time, the energy, the power, and then Joe Kelly writing, God damn, I love Joe Kelly. What a book. Love this. Batgirl number 9. Exploring Lady Shiva, a lot of the mystery of her youth, a lot of stuff going on in this book that I really enjoy. Batgirl, big fan of what's going on here. Next up, Birds of Prey. I love this team dynamic. I love what they're doing with Big Barda. I love Big Barda being a little bit more mainstream. I love Black Canary, always have. Really like seeing her in a leadership role. Fun book. Next up, New Captain America. This is issue 1. New Captain America number 1. Chip Zdarsky, one of my favorite Daredevil writers, takes on one of the hardest characters to write without making him cheesy. And he's leaning all the way in. He's just exploring things. This is a very different story that we've had for a while with Captain America. Issue 1 caught me. Curious how it keeps going. Dug the issue 1. Next up, a book I didn't think would be good. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one last time. Really fun. Playing around with some of the most iconic stories in Marvel. Playing around with Deadpool canon. Really stretching his limits. It's fun. It's silly. Why not? Original writer at Deadpool Kills the Universe back. Cullen Bunn. Then we've got Gotham City Sirens. I love a good team book. When they're written well, oh, I love them. Terry Dodson, love this cover. I'm a big fan of Black Cat and Harley Quinn. I enjoyed this. Then we've got Sam and Twitch Case Files. Not enough people are talking about this book. It is a Spawn Universe book, but it is not a Spawn heavy book. This is just a wrongfully accused cop and a drug problem, and a very interesting, very, not slice of life by any means. It's still very much fantastical, but it's a really cool thing to be focused on the cop side of the Spawn world. Digging this book. Then we've got Wolverines and Deadpools. Yeah, it's silly. It's meant to be. And yeah, it's great because over the years, Wolverine obviously has the incredible Wolverine at his side of X-23, seeing them fight together. Now, Deadpool's daughter has become a crime fighter. It's a fun dad book. I know it's silly. I like that. I enjoy this title. And of course, X-Men Hellfire. This is looking back at the Hellfire era. This is looking back at Krakoa. This feels like a beautiful, wake. This feels so introspective and fun. I really dug this X-Men Hellfire stuff, looking back at the galas of years past, but in new story. It's not like a clips episode. It's like a new story, and I really thought it was solid. So those are my favorite 9 from the week of the 2nd. We had X-Men Hellfire. We had Wolverines and Deadpools. We had Sam and Twitch Case Files. We had Gotham City Sirens. We had Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one last time. We had Captain America. We had Birds of Prey. We also had Batgirl number 9, and we had Amazing Spider-Man number 7. Those are my favorite books from the 2nd. As always, they're written in the caption below. As always, if you want to find out what I thought of the other 30 or 40 or so books I read that week, you can check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Koijandro. As soon as I wrap this, I'm going to get some tea. And then I'm literally going to go to Patreon and upload the entire A, B, C, D minus letter grades for all the comics from those 2 weeks, as well as I think I got to put the 18th in there too. So I'm going to be jumping on my Patreon after this and uploading a bunch of ratings, as well as my art of the month. I also review every movie and show I watch. So if you're like, Koi likes everything, the stuff I don't like, I give a letter grade and put it up on Patreon. So if you want to check out some letter grades on movies and TV, that is monthly at the end of the month, usually about a week into the next month. I post that as well. So check that out. And lastly, please do like and subscribe in this video. Once I hit 50K, 50 comic giveaway, that might happen as soon as like right after Comic-Con. I feel like Fantastic Four and Comic-Con might push us over the edge, which would mean first week of August, boy, oh boy, we'll do a big old live stream and announce a winner. And I'm going to mail 50 comics to you. 50K. So please do like and subscribe. I'm going to quickly check out the live chat because I promised I would. And then we're going to wrap out of here and I'm going to get some tea for my little dry cough of death because I have overworked myself too many places at once. All right, who we got? Let's say hello to some folks just real quick while I scroll. Hopefully everybody's still in here, at least most of them. The Devil Elvis Show. That's a cool name. And they're in the koi pond. Hell yeah. Appreciate that. Manny, Noel Airman, Little Baby Pizza. That is a great name. Cinemaze, good to see you again, man. Yeah, I also read Clayface's pitch for the Batman in transition. Yeah, that's why I kept thinking it was an Elseworld, and I apologize. Let's see. The Watcher, Charlie Fix. We got Matt G in here. We got Tony Randall. We got a lot of the OGs. Good to see some new names too. Really good to see some folks. I want to make sure I catch as many folks differently as I can. Dr. Jason Freeman. We got Mega Rayquaza 260. Great name. Peter MCRA. We got JS. We, of course, have Alicia Veramontes. We have Azul again. We have a lot of people very enthusiastic about Fantastic Four in the future of the MCU, as well as a lot of the stuff earlier about the DCU. We got Old Dog. We got Tomorrow Lauren. Good to see you. Good to see you today and tomorrow. We got Douglas McKinney, as always, holding it down, Darth Vader, doing the work. I think I've caught almost back up. MD. We got Joseph Ashley. We have 150 you guys in here. So press that like because we're almost at as many likes as viewers, which is amazing. You guys are very supportive. That guy B, hope you're well. I know you were late, but welcome anyway. FM Jake. I basically work for Marvel. I mean, I don't. I have a show at DC and I host a lot of stuff involving Marvel. I mean, I'd like to. If anyone wants to hire me directly, I can be called a shill for someone else. I am available to shill and be with the internet's punching bag while stuff that I love comes out and I say I love it. Lone Wolf X6. I'm so lost. What exactly can Wonder Man do? Okay, let's talk the Wonder Man show because I doubt he's going to be the superpowered Wonder Man of Avengers power. And I expect him to be more of the actor side of him, right? Like I assume it'll be a very cheeky ability to have super strength and all those things. But what I'm curious if they do is he needs a serum to survive in some continuities. I think Baron Zemo, I think has a serum that helps him survive. I'm wondering if they're going to go into like a drug addiction actor Hollywood thing. That's my curiosity. He is, able to do many things like in addition to the strength that I know he'll have, weird stuff like ionic manipulation and immortality. Don't think they'll touch on that. He can fly. Don't think they'll touch on that. What I think it'll be is a commentary on basically manipulation, drug culture, reflexes, and things that work on camera. But I don't know because his power set is all over the place. What I'm describing to you is someone that has every power and no power depending on who's writing him. Manipulation comes up a lot and strength and invulnerability come up a lot. We will see how it gets handled. I think the bigger thing is going to be the need for a serum, like a commentary on the super soldier serum, but in an addiction way. I assume that's the way they'll go by it being a Hollywood thing, but we will see. We will see. All right. That will do it. Apparently the social embargo for Fantastic Four lifts at 6 p.m. I had not heard that. Well, I haven't seen it. So I'm going to be staying off the internet myself because I want to form my own opinion and not have people telling me, oh, it's the worst, it's the best, it's the worst. I want to watch it. So good to know. I appreciate that. The film mandate. Hi, Koi. What would a newbie's entry into reading comic books and the business of creating them? I will very much appreciate your thoughts. Into reading comic books, Ultimate Spider-Man is really approachable. Batman Year One is amazing. Weirder stuff like Saga is very approachable because it's not tied into any canon. Deadly Class, I think, is great if you're an 80s kid. A lot of jumping on points, but it depends if you're looking for cape stuff or regular stuff. As far as creating them, I don't know. I've never made a comic. I'm sorry. Tyler W. with the super chat. Yes. Tyler W. Thank you. I just started reading Absolute Batman. How would you rank the Absolute titles that are currently out so I know what to read next? Love this question. My current ranking. Absolute Martian Manhunter. It's insane. It's so weird. It's so good. Absolute Wonder Woman. I love the use of demons and monsters instead of paradise. Absolute Batman. Really great, really dynamic, really good choices. Doesn't always work for me. Works more often than it doesn't. Absolute Flash. Can't quite connect to. I want to, but it's not speaking to me as much as I want it to. Absolute Green Lantern is like every other issue. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, eh. So that would be my order, I believe. Hopefully that helps. But if you're not reading Absolute Martian Manhunter or Absolute Wonder Woman, those are my top two. And then, I forgot Absolute Superman. Absolute Martian Manhunter, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Flash, Absolute Green Lantern so far. Johan Garcia. Hey, Coy, thank you for the Superman recommendation. Hell yeah. I got Superman Up in the Sky, and I'm in the hunt to get the others. Excited to start reading it. That makes me very happy. I love Up in the Sky. It is a very fun, very approachable anthology book. No continuity tied to it. It's a very fun, fast-spirited read, very cinematic, very bold. I really like that book. So I'm glad to hear you like it as well. And thank you very much, Johan, for the super chat and recommending it to others. All right. That is going to do it, you lovelies. We did an incredible hour of DCU, MCU, Comic U. We talked all things comic books because, and I try to stress this, when you go to the store, you do not go to the Marvel store, you do not go to the DC store, you go to the goddamn comic store, and we have no reason to, it's so dumb. So enjoy some comics. Check out COVRPRICE. COVRPRICE have been really, really essential to my collecting of comic books. If you're getting started, there's a lot of great articles on there. If you've been reading forever, it's got a lot of great assets to keep your collection growing. Love these guys. Use the code COY. Save some money. COY. That's it. So you got to type in. All right. Leave a like in this video. I appreciate y'all. Please comment later about what you're excited about in DCU, the MCU. Please let me know if you've been reading any comics, anything you recommend for me that I might not have mentioned. Maybe it was my number 10. Maybe it almost didn't make the cut. Also, if you like any of these books, please let's have a conversation about comic books in the comments below. Thank you for watching, whether you were live, whether you're watching later. I appreciate y'all. My next video is probably going to be my spoiler-free fantastic review. I'm going to do an out of the theater on Monday. I'm going to do a spoiler-free on Tuesday. No spoilers, I promise. And a spoiler review on Friday. And in the middle of that, I'll be at Con. So I'll be posting these videos at Comic-Con. So next week is going to be very high volume, hopefully. And go check out my DC Studio Showcase this morning. I appreciate y'all. And yes, I did Cloned Avenger. Thank you for noticing. I did ask James Gunn about Kyle Rayner. He's my guy, my favorite Green Lantern. There he is. Always repping. And one day, if I have the power people claim I do, we get a Kyle Rayner movie next. I don't have that power, but I want it. All right. Much love, guys. I'll see you soon.